Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, today's video is going to be about the Sunday Riley skincare range, which is a huge favourite of mine. I would say in terms of judging by the number of products I regularly use from one line in my skincare regime, then it's probably overall my favourite skincare range, and has been probably for the last 18 months, 2 years, slightly longer in respect of some of the products. I want to, before I just start talking about my favourites and the few products from the line that I don't like, because it's not an overall an endorsement, I just wanted to say a kind of few caveats about skincare and me saying that I love these products. And that's, first of all, that I absolutely accept that a lot of our preferences for skincare are very personal, of course, and depend on our age and type of skin. But more to the point, I actually think most skincare is an indulgent luxury in a sense. And I say that because I'm very interested in the science. I do take care of my skin. I see a dermatologist quite regularly, and I have treatments from an anaesthetician who has a medical background, and I have a number of friends who are doctors, dermatologists, and I tend to think that the medics know rather better than the multinationals who make a lot of money from selling us expensive skincare products, what is actually something that works, and what is just an indulgence, as I say. And universally, really, the dermatologists I've spoken to and from what I've read suggest that anything that really changes fundamentally the condition of your skin either comes from lifestyle, diet, sleep, that sort of thing, or is a drug, and therefore can't be sold legally, certainly in the EU, and isn't going to form part of your skincare routine. So, you know, broadly, dermatologists say the big things that make a difference are: don't smoke, get plenty of sleep, have a good balanced diet. You can be prescribed drugs to help with acne. Retinol does help with fine lines, but it needs to be at a strength that has to be prescribed in the EU. And the other thing, I'm afraid, that does work with wrinkles is Botox. And, you know, that's because it's a drug and it's injected, blah, blah, blah. So, having said all that, I love skincare. I think, you know, what makes you feel good, what you enjoy using to pamper your skin. And I do think, you know, the whole massaging in of cream does help the condition of your skin. So if you have something that you enjoy using, it's important. And of course, it's important that you have something that isn't irritating your skin. And I do spend a lot of money on skincare. So that was rather a lengthy introduction. Sunday Riley, this is quite an expensive range. It's not right up there at the top. It's quite a new range. I'm not sure when she started. My understanding is Sunday Riley is or was a chemist who works in developing cosmetic products. I think the range probably started in about 2010, thereabouts, 2009, 2010. I've certainly been using Good Genes, which is one of the hero products over here, for 5 years or maybe more. So it's been around. It's a popular kind of cult range. What's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what do I like? I will say from the straight off, I've got 2 cleansers from the range here. Ceramic Slip, which is definitely a cult, and CEO cleansing oil, which is a newer product. The CEO range was launched fairly recently, last couple of years, and I had a kind of starter kit. You can see here the moisturizer, which I've been using fairly recently when traveling. I had a small one of the cleansing oil, and I liked it so much I've already bought the bigger one. But Ceramic Slip is my absolute favourite wash off cleanser. I like to do a double cleanse, certainly if I've been wearing makeup, so I will use a combination of a wash off and a micellar water, or a cream wipe off. I like Dermalogica's sensitive wipe off cream. I've used that for probably about 12-15 years, but of the wash off, Ceramic Slip is my favourite. It's described as a clay cleanser, which really put me off when I read about it. Didn't like the sound of that at all. Nor did I think it would be for me, because it says it's for normal to oily skin. My skin has always been combination, and it's tending to dry now. So I spent a long time before I actually tried this product. And as I say, I really love it now. Why do I love it? It just gives a beautiful finish. I feel when I've used it that the pores are smaller on my face, but my skin feels soft and clean, but without any stripping. And it stays that way till the next day. It's a really, really effective cleanser. The downside, some people don't like the smell or the appearance. Let me just show you. It's a kind of gloopy, grey, viscous liquid. It doesn't foam up, unlike a lot of cleansers. You put it on like that, so dry onto the skin, and then I think you can wipe it off. I tend to use a warm, wet flannel, and it has a kind of slightly floral, herby smell. I like it. You can see from the ingredients that it contains neroli oil, which some people would say, well, that might be an irritant. It has a very pleasant smell, of course. I really enjoy using it. Great effects. I have 2 backups of it already. That's how much I love it. I don't use it every day. The other disadvantage is it's fiendishly expensive. More recently, obviously, I've tried the CEO range, which is the vitamin C, and this is the micro-dissolving cleansing oil. I don't generally get on terribly well with oils, either as treatments or cleansers, but this is a very effective cleanser, and I would tend to use this if I have been wearing particularly heavy makeup or have recently applied my makeup. So, you know, after an evening out, it's very, very good at completely removing makeup. Again, you put it on a dry face. I take it off with a damp, warm flannel. Very pleasant kind of citrus smell, as the whole vitamin C range has. It's the best oil cleanser I've come across. And again, I wouldn't now be without it, I think. You know, this is an absolutely dynamic duo, a first oil cleanse followed by Ceramic Slip. It's just so expensive to use like that. So I couldn't more heartily endorse the cleansers in the Sunday Riley range than I do. The only caveat in reality is the cost. And I do accept that cleansing is an area where you can afford to buy cheaper products, as long as they're not actually stripping your skin. Then it doesn't really matter. So that's the cleansers. Now, my other hero product is Bionic, which is this fella over here, the anti-aging cream. Now, there is a real problem with Bionic in that it is incredibly hard to get hold of now. I believe there was a legal action in the United States. I don't know what happened to it, but Bionic, which was stocked by all the stockists who sell Sunday Riley in this country, so for example, Cult Beauty and Space NK, just suddenly disappeared, and no one would say why. And the speculation was it was discontinued by Sunday Riley when this class action started in 2016, I think, either 2015, 2016. And basically the class action, from what I've read about it, is because people say there were misleading claims being made about this. You know, it was advertised as an anti-aging cream with the usual kind of puff that, you know, all cosmetic firms use. It seemed very bizarre to me and quite personalised, because I've never sort of read any claims for Bionic that are any more misleading than, as I say, most skincare products are. But there you go. It suddenly disappeared, and it hasn't come back to any of the major UK stockists. I got so spooked by this that I've actually bought backups, you know, from back stock in Germany and the United States. So I have at least 2 bottles of this. It's very expensive. It's over £100 if you can get it. It's a lotion. And, you know, I've read about the ingredients, and there's nothing particularly startling in them that justifies the price. I have to concede that. It has no SPF, so I only use it in the evenings. But there is just something about it. It's a lotion, but a very thick lotion that absolutely sinks into the skin and just leaves it silky satiny and with a beautiful texture the next morning. Again, a pleasant, to me, not invasive fragrance. It's my favourite evening moisturiser, even though it's a lotion, and I tend to prefer a cream for my dry skin. If you can get hold of it, I still recommend Bionic, but, you know, I can't justify it in terms of the ingredients. All as I can say is, for me, it works and it feels great. CEO is the latest, and it's a cream rather than a lotion. I've had this, there you go, you can see yellowy cream pot I've been using for about a month. Very strong citrus fragrance. If you ever smelt Nitamins from, who did Nitamins? Origins, one of the Estee Lauder derivatives. Smells very like that. Actually, the cream is quite like that. I'd say it was a bit thicker, and it definitely feels more moisturising on the skin than Nitamins did. I used to like Nitamins. I did use it for quite a while, but it's a bit lightweight for me now. My issue, of course, is with pots, antioxidants. You know, what are you doing putting it in a pot where it's going to be contaminated by the air? That's bullshit to me, to be brutally frank. But I do quite like the cream, not as much as Bionic. I haven't tried any of the other moisturisers in the range, although I have a sample of Tidal, which will be next on the list after I've worked my way through this. Good Genes, I think, is universally enjoyed. It's a lactic acid product. It's been on the market for quite a few years. My dermatologist says, you know, if you're going to use an exfoliator, and it's a good idea to do so to, you know, kind of remove the clogs a few times a week, then a lactic acid one is the gentlest and best type to use on the skin if you're not using a prescription chemical one. You know, rather than those horrible kind of ones with beads or grains in or whatever. And again, this is just a very pleasant one to use. Skin definitely feels brighter after use, and it doesn't dry out. Again, it's an expensive product. There are cheaper exfoliators on the market, but I happen to like that one. Just briefly, 2 products that I don't love for various reasons. One of them is Luna Oil, which is supposed to be the retinoid product in the range. And a lot of people love this. It has great reviews. It's blue. I should say I don't get on terribly well with oils. I really hate this. It not only makes my skin not look better, it actually makes my skin have a kind of greyish cast. Excuse me, the next morning. I don't know whether it's because of the colouring, which, by the way, is not due to the tansy oil ingredient, but is, in fact, as I understand it, a food colouring dye that they've put in. So I'm not a fan of this, but it has its fans. I'm not a fan of the Start Over eye cream, not because there's anything wrong with the eye cream itself, but because the applicator, which is one of these metal with a pinprick, clogs up, and it stops being able to be possible to get the product out of the tube. So not a fan of that, but I am a fan of the range overall. Hope that helps some of you. Always like to see your feedback. Until next time, bye for now.